My beloved child, listen gently to what I am whispering within your soul. Do not rush past this moment. Do not let the noise around you carry your heart away before you have heard what love is trying to say. I am not speaking to frighten you. I am not speaking to condemn you. I am speaking because I love you too deeply to remain silent while your soul grows tired in ways you have not fully noticed. There are things in this world that do not arrive like violent storms. They do not come with thunder. They do not shake the ground beneath your feet. They do not always look dangerous when they first appear. Some things come quietly, like mist settling over a field in the middle of the night. At first, nothing seems wrong. You still move through your days. You still answer messages. You still smile when people speak to you. You still complete your responsibilities. Keep your schedule. And tell yourself that everything is fine. But little by little, your vision begins to dim. Not your physical sight, but the eyes of your spirit. The light within you rarely disappears all at once. It often grows faint slowly. A prayer postponed for another day. A small bitterness left untouched. A habit that fills your mind with noise, but leaves your soul empty. A busyness that feels reasonable, but slowly steals the quiet place where you used to meet with me. A comfort that soothes you for a moment, but does not lead you back to life. These things may seem small, but small things repeated over time can shape the direction of a soul. My beloved, I do not say this so you will look at yourself with shame. I do not want you to become afraid of every weakness, every tired thought, every unfinished place within you. I know you are human. I know how heavy life can feel. I know the silent exhaustion you have been carrying. I am not here to accuse you. I am here to awaken you gently. There is a difference. Accusation pushes you into hiding. Love calls you back into the light. And I am calling you back into the light. There have been moments when you were about to follow something that seemed harmless. Yet deep inside, you felt a quiet unrest, a small hesitation, a tender warning. Something in your spirit whispered, "This is not where life is." That was not coincidence. That was my spirit protecting you from what would slowly drain your peace. I have placed within you the ability to discern what brings life and what quietly pulls you away from it. But you must learn to listen. The world is loud. It trains you to hurry. It teaches you to fill every silence, to chase every desire, to compare every part of your life, to keep moving even when your soul is asking to be still. But my voice often comes softly, not because I am far away, but because love does not need to shout to be true. Psalm 119, verse 105 says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." That light has not gone out over your life. Even when you feel confused, even when you have wandered, even when you cannot clearly name what is happening inside you, my word is still a lamp, not a harsh flame meant to expose you with cruelty, but a faithful light placed near your feet, showing you the next step, revealing what is safe, uncovering what has quietly begun to steal your peace. So today, let your heart become honest before me. Ask yourself gently, is my soul alive, or only busy? Am I at peace, or merely distracted? Am I being nourished, or only comforted for a moment? Have I been walking with me, or simply moving through days without stopping to listen? Do not answer with fear. Answer with tenderness. A gardener does not hate the garden because weeds appear. A gardener notices them because the garden is precious. In the same way, I am inviting you to notice what is growing within your heart. Not so you will condemn yourself, but so you will allow me to tend what has been neglected. One small return can begin restoration. One honest prayer can open the window again. One quiet moment with me can let light enter a room that has been closed for too long. You do not need to repair everything today. You do not need to become perfect before coming near. You only need to pause, breathe, and let me show you where the mist has gathered. Say softly, Lord, show me what is dimming my soul. Lead me back to your light. I will not answer that prayer with harshness. I will answer with mercy. I will guide you gently. I will teach you to recognize life again. But before your soul grows too tired to recognize the light, I am calling you to listen again to the whisper you have been too busy to hear. But before your soul grows too tired to recognize the light, I am calling you to listen again to the whisper you have been too busy to hear. My beloved child, you must learn to listen to the quietness, not because silence itself is empty, not because stillness means nothing is happening, but because many of the deepest things I speak to you cannot be heard while your heart is running in 1,000 directions. The world has taught you to fear silence. It has taught you to fill every pause with noise, every empty moment with scrolling, every quiet evening with distraction, every ache of the heart with something that keeps you from feeling it too deeply. But I do not invite you into stillness to leave you alone there. I invite you into stillness so you can discover that I have been with you all along. There are things I can place within you only when your inner world becomes quiet enough to receive them. Peace does not always enter like thunder. Wisdom does not always arrive like a sudden flame. Sometimes guidance comes like the first light of morning slipping gently through a window. Softly, quietly, faithfully. If your heart is too hurried, you may miss it. But if you pause beside me, even for a moment, you will begin to recognize my nearness again. There have been times when I guided you through a small uneasiness in your heart. You were about to step toward something that looked reasonable on the outside. Yet deep within, your spirit felt unsettled. You could not fully explain it. You only knew that something did not feel clean, peaceful, or life-giving. Do not ignore those moments. Sometimes that quiet hesitation is mercy. Sometimes that gentle unrest is protection. Sometimes that soft warning is my spirit drawing your hand away from something that would later burden your soul. And there have also been moments when peace came softly, without changing the entire circumstance around you. You still had questions. The road was still unclear. The answer had not yet arrived. But somewhere deep inside, a calmness rested upon your heart. That was not weakness. That was not imagination. That was my presence reminding you that you are not walking alone. Remember Elijah. He once stood in a lonely place after a season of deep weariness. He had seen struggle, pressure, and exhaustion. His heart had grown tired, and he needed more than noise, more than drama, more than another display of strength. He waited for me. There was a mighty wind. There was shaking. There was fire. But I did not come to him in those overwhelming things. I came in a still, gentle whisper. And in that whisper, his soul recognized me. My beloved, I do not need to shout in order to prove that I am near. True love does not always announce itself loudly. Many times, it stays close enough to be felt by the heart that has learned to be still. So do not underestimate those subtle things. A verse of scripture that rests in your mind at the exact moment you need courage. A gentle peace that rises before you make a wise decision. A quiet discomfort when something is pulling you away from the light. A sudden desire to pray, even when you do not have many words. A small moment of gratitude that softens your heart before the day begins. These are not meaningless. They are small lamps along your path. They are ways I remind you that I am still guiding, still protecting, still speaking. Psalm 46, verse 10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." This is not an invitation to escape your life. It is an invitation to meet me in the middle of your life, in the middle of your responsibilities, in the middle of your questions, In the middle of your ordinary day, you do not need to wait for a perfect spiritual moment. You can pause now. You can breathe now. You can whisper, Lord, I am here. Even that is enough for heaven to lean close. When you say those words honestly, you are opening a small door in the room of your heart. And through that small door, light begins to enter. Silence is not a place where darkness must swallow you. When you bring your silence to me, it becomes a garden, a place where I can touch what is tired, a place where I can reveal what has been hidden, a place where I can restore the tenderness that constant noise has worn down. So today, do not be afraid to slow down. Before you answer too quickly, pause. Before you react from hurt, pause. Before you fall, thing that leaves your spirit uneasy, pause. Before you end the day, pause and ask, Lord, where did you visit me today? I have been speaking in ways you may have overlooked. I have been near in moments you called ordinary. I have been guiding through whispers you almost dismissed. And when you begin to hear me in the quiet, you will also begin to recognize the small choices that either keep your lamp burning or let it grow dim. And when you begin to hear me in the quiet, you will also begin to recognize the small choices that either keep your lamp burning or let it grow dim. My beloved child, do not underestimate the small things. A soul does not usually become strong in one dramatic moment. It is strengthened quietly, day after day, through hidden choices that may seem ordinary to the world, but are precious in my sight. A word of gratitude when morning first touches your room. A short prayer before your work begins. A moment of silence before sleep. A gentle answer when anger rises. A decision to forgive instead of allowing bitterness to take root. A pause before speaking words that may wound another heart. These small things are like drops of oil keeping the lamp within your soul from going out. You often think spiritual life is shaped only by great moments, powerful emotions, or sudden breakthroughs. But I tell you, the direction of your soul is often formed by what you repeat in secret. Your life is formed by the small things repeated each day. A stream does not carve a valley in one afternoon. It moves slowly, faithfully, over stone until the shape of the earth begins to change. In the same way, holy habits, practiced with patience, will slowly shape the deepest places within you. Do not despise a small prayer. Do not despise a quiet act of love. Do not despise one moment of honesty before me. Do not despise the day when all you can say is, Lord, help me stay close. That prayer still matters. That moment still carries light. That small return still opens the door for grace. But my child, the opposite is also true. Small things can guard the soul. And small things can also make the soul grow tired. A small bitterness left unforgiven. A constant hurry that leaves no room for my voice. A habit that fills your mind with noise every time your heart feels empty. A private compromise that you tell yourself does not matter. A repeated delay in coming to me. Until prayer begins to feel distant and unfamiliar. None of these things may seem serious at first. They may come softly, almost unnoticed. But if they are repeated long enough, they can cover the lamp of your soul with dust. I do not tell you this to make you afraid. I tell you this because your soul is precious. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. That wisdom was not given to make you anxious. It was given because your heart is a garden, and what grows there will eventually shape the way you live, love, think, speak, and choose. A gardener does not wait until everything has withered before paying attention. A gardener watches the small signs. A dry leaf, a bent stem, a place where the soil needs water. Not because the garden is worthless, but because it is valuable. Your soul is valuable to me. That is why I ask you to notice what is happening within you. When your heart becomes easily irritated, pause. When silence begins to feel uncomfortable, pause. When prayer feels far away, pause. When something that once brought life now leaves you empty, pause. Do not condemn yourself. Return. The righteous are not those who never stumble. They are those who keep rising and returning to the light. Remember Daniel. He lived in a place filled with pressure, noise, and temptation. Yet what kept his soul steady was not one public moment alone. It was quiet faithfulness repeated day after day. He turned his heart toward me. He prayed. He remained anchored when the world around him tried to pull him away. You also need gentle anchors. A verse held in your heart. A prayer whispered before a decision. A moment of gratitude before the day rushes forward. A small act of kindness when the world feels cold. A few quiet breaths where you remember, I am not alone. God is with me. These anchors may look small, but they keep your soul close to the shore of my presence. And remember this as well. Samson did not lose strength because of one careless moment alone. His heart drifted through small steps he thought he could control. Little by little, what once seemed harmless became dangerous for his soul. So when I gently warn you, listen. When I ask you to return, return. When I invite you to guard the small places, do not delay. I am not trying to take life from you. I am trying to keep life flowing within you. A tender and attentive heart is already a dwelling place where I delight to abide. So, today, choose one small thing that brings you back to me. One prayer, one scripture, one act of forgiveness, one moment of stillness, one honest surrender. Let that be your drop of oil for today and tomorrow. Choose again. Little by little, your lamp will burn brighter. Little by little, your heart will grow softer. Little by little, the light within you will become steady again. But as you guard the small things, I also want to teach you how to discern the difference between true peace and the comfort that only numbs the soul. But as you guard the small things, I also want to teach you how to discern the difference between true peace and the comfort that only numbs the soul. My beloved child, not everything that makes you feel calm for a moment is leading you into life. There is a difference between the peace that comes from my presence and the temporary comfort this world so often offers you. True peace draws your soul closer to the light. Temporary comfort only helps you forget the darkness for a little while. True peace makes your heart honest before me. Temporary comfort teaches your heart to avoid what still needs healing. True peace may come quietly, but it leaves you clearer, softer, steadier, and more alive. Temporary comfort may feel pleasant at first, but afterward, your soul feels emptier than before. My beloved, relief is not always healing. There are things that numb pain without touching the wound beneath it. There are distractions that quiet your thoughts for an hour, but do not restore your soul. There are achievements that make you feel important for a moment, but still leave you lonely when the room becomes silent. There are pleasures that promise rest, but slowly pull your heart away from the only rest that can truly hold you. I do not say this to shame you. I know why you reach for comfort. I know how tired you have been. I know the heaviness you carry when no one sees it. I know the ache that makes you want anything, even for a moment, that helps you stop feeling so much. But I love you too much to let you mistake numbness for peace. The world often offers you things that feel pleasant in the moment and calls them peace. It tells you that if you stay busy enough, you will not have to feel the emptiness. If you are admired enough, you will finally feel secure. If you can control enough, you will never be afraid. If you can distract yourself enough, the thirst in your soul will eventually disappear. But the thirst does not disappear. It waits. It grows quiet for a little while. Then it returns in the stillness. This is why you can have a full schedule and still feel empty. You can be surrounded by noise and still feel alone. You can accomplish things others praise and still wonder why your soul feels dry. Your soul was created for something greater than merely surviving. You were not made to live only from one distraction to the next. You were not made to keep calling yourself fine while your spirit quietly longs for living water. You were not made to carry a hidden dryness and pretend it is normal. I created you for communion with me. I created you for a peace that does not depend on perfect circumstances. I created you for life that flows from my presence. Remember Martha and Mary. Martha was busy with many things, and many of those things seemed reasonable. She was serving. She was working. She was doing what looked necessary. But Mary sat at my feet and listened. Martha was not evil. She was distracted. And sometimes, my beloved, what pulls you away from me is not something dramatic or obviously wrong. Sometimes it is simply too many reasonable things filling your mind until there is no space left for the one thing your soul needs most. Do not let your responsibilities become a hiding place from my presence. Do not let your busyness convince you that your soul can live without stillness. Do not let good things replace the better thing. Come sit with me again, even for 1 minute, even with unfinished tasks around you, even with questions still unresolved. My presence can do in one quiet moment what hours of striving cannot do. Remember also the woman at the well. She came carrying a thirst deeper than water. She had searched in places that could not satisfy the deepest longing of her soul. But when she encountered me, she discovered living water. That is what I offer you. Not a temporary escape. Not a shallow comfort. Not a thin covering over a wound. Living water. Water that reaches the dry places. Water that restores what noise has worn down. Water that makes your soul alive again. And when you finally admit that your soul is thirsty, do not be ashamed of that thirst. That thirst is not proof that you have failed. It is proof that you were made for me. So today, ask your heart gently, does this bring me closer to God? Or only help me avoid myself? Does this leave my soul clearer? Or more clouded? Does this make prayer feel nearer? Or farther away? Does this comfort heal me? Or only numb me? Do not ask these questions with fear. Ask them with a listening heart. I am not trying to take joy from you. I am trying to lead you into joy that does not disappear when the moment passes. So come back to the water that never runs dry. Come back to the peace that guards your heart and mind. Come back to the place where you no longer need to pretend. And when you finally admit that your soul is thirsty, do not be ashamed of that thirst, because it is the invitation that leads you back to the living water. And when you finally admit that your soul is thirsty, do not be ashamed of that thirst, because it is the invitation that leads you back to the living water. My beloved child, come back to me, not when you have repaired every broken place, not when you finally feel strong enough, not when you know how to explain everything that has happened inside your heart. Come now. Come with the thirst you cannot name. Come with the weariness you have hidden behind your smile. Come with the quiet dryness that has made prayer feel distant. Come with the part of you that still longs for peace, even though you have tried to satisfy that longing in so many other places. I do not love a perfected version of you. I love you exactly as you are. I love you when you are tired. I love you when you are confused. I love you when you do not know how to begin again. I love you when all you can offer me is one honest whisper. Lord, I am here. That is enough. Do not believe the lie that you must become spiritually bright before returning to the light. The light is what restores you. Do not believe you must become whole before coming to the healer. My presence is where healing begins. Matthew 11, verse 28 says, Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Those words are not only for people who have everything in order. They are for the weary. They are for the burdened. They are for the ones who have carried too much for too long. They are for the ones who have kept moving while their souls quietly asked for rest. They are for you. So come. Come without pretending. Come without hiding. Come without rehearsing a perfect prayer. My light does not come to shame you. My light comes to heal you. A dark room is not scolded for being dark. When light enters, darkness begins to leave. That is how I come to the hidden rooms of your soul. Not with harshness, not with accusation, but with a gentle mercy that shows you what needs healing without making you afraid to be seen. There are places within you that time alone has not healed. Memories you buried because they hurt too much to touch. Disappointments you covered with busyness. Questions you stopped asking because silence felt easier than hope. But I have never been afraid of those places. Let me enter them. Let me bring living water into the dry ground. Remember the woman at the well. She came looking for ordinary water. But beneath that daily task was a deeper thirst. She had searched for satisfaction in places that could not hold her soul. But when she stood before me, she encountered more than an answer. She encountered the one who knew her completely and still offered her life. That is what I offer you. Not a temporary comfort. Not a passing feeling. Not a momentary escape. Living water. Water for the hidden thirst. Water from the places where your hope has grown tired. Water for the soul that has tried to survive without resting in my presence. You do not need another empty well. You need the fountain that never runs dry. And I am still here. Perhaps you feel as though you have wandered too far. Perhaps you have delayed returning for so long that you wonder whether your heart can become tender again. But my beloved, no distance is greater than my mercy. Remember the son who returned home with empty hands. He had wandered. He had lost much. He had prepared a speech because he thought he would have to earn a place near his father again. But the father saw him while he was still far away and ran toward him. That is my heart toward you. I do not wait for you with condemnation. I wait for you with open arms. The moment your heart turns toward me, restoration has already begun. And remember Lazarus. I called his name while he was still in the dark. I did not wait for the tomb to become bright before speaking life. I spoke life into the very place that seemed impossible. There are places in your heart that you may have called too dry, too late, too wounded, too far gone. But I am the resurrection and the life. I can breathe hope into what you thought would never live again. So today, return in a simple way. Pause. Breathe. Tell me the truth. Say, Lord, my soul is tired. I return to you. Give me the living water that only you can give. Then sit with me for one quiet moment. Open my word. Let one verse become water. Let one breath become surrender. Let one honest tear become prayer. Let one small choice in the light become the beginning of your way home. You do not have to force transformation. Stay near me, and life will begin to flow again. And as you return to the living water, I will teach you to walk forward, not by fear or pretending, but by choosing the light one small step at a time. And as you return to the living water, I will teach you to walk forward, not by fear or pretending, but by choosing the light one small step at a time. My beloved child, today, choose life, not with pressure, not with fear, not with the burden of becoming perfect in a single day. Choose life by turning your heart toward me in the small moment that is before you. The path of light is not always dramatic. Sometimes it begins with one quiet decision, one honest prayer, one step away from what drains your soul, one step toward what brings you back to peace. You may think that such a small choice cannot matter very much, but I see what one small step can become when it is placed in my hands. A mighty river begins with small drops of water. A dawn begins with one line of light on the horizon. A life restored begins with one sincere return. So do not despise the step that feels small. If it is taken toward me, it carries eternal weight. Every day, your soul stands before quiet crossroads. You can choose bitterness, or you can choose forgiveness. You can choose to keep pretending, or you can tell me the truth. You can choose noise, or you can pause long enough to hear my whisper. You can choose fear, or you can place your trembling hand in mine. I do not force you. My child, true love does not force. I call. I invite. I stand beside you and whisper. Walk toward life. Walk toward the light. There may be things you need to release. A habit that slowly empties you. A relationship that pulls your heart away from peace. A way of thinking that wounds you again and again. A false comfort that helps you forget your thirst, but never brings you living water. Let it go with me. Not all at once. Perhaps. Not with harshness toward yourself, but honestly, bring it into my light and say, Lord, I choose life here. Teach me to walk away from what is draining my soul and toward what brings me closer to you. I will help you. I will not leave you to fight alone. Remember the people of Israel standing before the Red Sea. Behind them was the life they had known. Before them was a path they could not yet see. The water had not opened while they stood frozen in fear. But as they trusted me, the impossible became a road beneath their feet. There will be moments when you also want to see the whole path before you move. You will want certainty before obedience. You will want the water to part before your heart trusts me. But faith often begins before the road is visible. Take the step I am showing you today. Not tomorrow's step. Not the whole journey. Just today's step. I am not only waiting at the end of the road. I am walking beside you in every step. Remember Peter on the water. The storm was still there. The waves had not vanished. The wind had not become silent. But as long as his eyes were fixed on me, he stood where fear said he could not stand. And when fear pulled his eyes away, I did not abandon him. I reached for him. That is my heart toward you. True strength is not found in never falling. It is found in knowing how to reach for my hand again after every fall. So when you stumble, return. When you feel weak, return. When you become distracted, return. When the lamp within your soul feels dim, return. Do not waste time hiding from me in shame. I already know where you are, and my hand is already reaching toward you. My beloved child, the life I am calling you into is not a life without storms. It is a life where you no longer walk through storms alone. It is not a life where every question is answered immediately. It is a life where my presence holds you while the answers unfold. It is not a life where you never feel tired. It is a life where you know where to bring your weariness. Every path becomes beautiful, not because it is free from hardship, but because in every single step I have always been walking beside you. So begin again today. Before you sleep, give me one honest prayer. When you awaken, offer me one word of gratitude. When anger rises, pause before you speak. When fear comes near, breathe and remember that I am with you. When your soul feels dry, come back to the living water. These small choices will become a road of light beneath your feet. Little by little, your heart will grow tender again. Little by little, peace will become familiar again. Little by little, you will recognize my voice more clearly. And one day, you will look back and see that I was restoring you through the very moments you thought were too small to matter. My beloved child, choose the light again today. Take my hand. I am not only waiting at the end of the road. I am walking beside you in every step.